$100. What we expect now is lower for longer oil prices, which means as a nation we must think about alternatives. What else can we do for ourselves beyond oil? Even the oil itself has been neglected. We focus only on upstream, with very little attention being paid to downstream, refining, petrochemical. More than half of the reason why today Naira is somewhere around 320 Naira to the dollar is because we're spending about 40% of our hard-earned foreign exchange currency in importing refined products. Who does that anywhere in the world? We produce crude, but we cannot refine. Now, if you look at it and you ask yourself, we must get to a point where we're becoming sincere, transparent, and honest with ourselves. As leaders, we must take decisions. Sometimes they are tough decisions, but they are necessary. If today we insist that petroleum products must be regulated, especially petrol, because AGO is deregulated, but we spend hours and hours and hours keying for fuel. The power generation is under 5,000 megawatts for 180 million people. Whereas we have countries as small as not even a country, Dubai, very small city, generates more than 40,000 megawatts. I once read a report that says, if you ask every household in Nigeria just to put on one light bulb, the 5,000 megawatts cannot sustain it. So if the plan we actually have today is to then raise it from 5,000 to 7 or 10,000, our thinking is still about 50 years behind time. We're not asking ourselves, what do we need today? We don't have FX, yet we are spending money to import not only fuel products, but generators. And it's so bad, people can't even buy, they can't find petrol to buy to power their generators. I listened to a man on the radio who was almost crying. Went to work, worked very hard, like we always do, closed very late, and got home, and there wasn't electricity. And he has a small baby, and the wife was ill. And it was so hot, nobody could sleep. So he spent his time at night fanning the baby. If he had to go to work very early tomorrow, how can that person be productive? It shouldn't be a crime to be Nigerian. So this is the time in our nationhood that we must seriously think and act differently. If you look at it and you say diversification, beyond oil, you can also look at agriculture. But even the agriculture itself, it's not about giving fertilizers. It's not about campaign promises to say, yes, we are helping farmers. We need to think beyond that. We have countries like the US where only about 2 or 3% of their population is doing agric, and they produce more than the nation can consume. So we must begin to think about agriculture beyond just the raw materials or the basic items. We must go to agro-processing. We must think about storage. We must think about logistics. And of course, there's entertainment. Today, you look at our Nollywood, either second or third in terms of the volume that we shone out, but quality is very low. But then, we're gaining popularity worldwide, and a few people out of Nollywood will say, we have to produce quality movies. And the last I heard was about October 1. And I heard that this man spent almost 200 million to recover his money. How is he going to make profits before we can even think about paying taxes. Taxes, after all, is the way that government shares in the prosperity and success of the people. If they are poor and they have no income, there's nothing for government to tax. We hear about Hollywood, where people, they take hundreds of millions of dollars, if not billions of dollars, when they produce movies. Imagine I made $100 million and you ask me to pay 20%. Well, I still have a lot left. But if I couldn't recover my money because of piracy, then there's nothing to pay. I'm actually in debt. Who is supposed to protect that guy? It's our government. We can complain about colonialism, but that was over 50 years ago. And we can talk about several other things. We look at our national budget today, even with borrowing, the entire budget is about $30 billion if you use the official exchange rate. If you use parallel market, it's even less. That's less than the money you use to maintain the justice system in the United States of America. Which means, even if there's no corruption at all, the entire budget itself is not sufficient to fix the problems we have. Therefore, the greatest impact that we will make as a nation will not come from the money that the government would spend, whether they pass budget or not. It will come from the framework, the policies that we create to make ease of doing business something that is attractive. And also to improve Nigeria's competitiveness. So if you look at the World Bank's ease of doing business ranking, we rank 169 out of 189. If you look at ease of paying taxes, we said there's no tax revenue. It's even worse. We rank 181 out of 189 economies. It's a contradiction. On one hand, you're asking people to pay. On the other hand, you make it difficult for them to pay. Doing business shouldn't be a crime. Some of the easy wins, and I like the theme of this conference, what do we have in our hands? If you look at the real estate sector, I was with some investors, about 6 of them, thinking about real estate investment trust in Nigeria. And when we finished with the analysis, it wasn't making sense for anybody to go into that. Are you talking about the transfer of property, perfecting titles? They are extremely complicated. When you do have that investment property, the holding period, what taxes should you pay? When you are exiting, what taxes should you pay? Not only are they complicated, not only are there multiple taxation, there's loads of uncertainties as to when you pay, what you pay, and who you pay them to. We have countries where the real estate alone contributes almost 20% to their GDP. For us, it's less than 1%. The good thing is, we don't need oil money to reform that sector. We don't need our colonial masters to help us fix it. Neither do we need United Nations. We only need Nigeria and Nigerians. So it should be possible to do that. We must get to a point very quickly in our nationhood where we move from thoughts to actions. And this is not just about our leaders alone, but even us who are following them. We must begin to ask the right questions of our leaders. We must begin to hold them accountable. For many years, we had budgets, and we'll be told it hasn't been fully implemented, maybe 60%. And don't forget, the 60% is self-assessment, so most likely it's even less. But let's take it to be 60%. What that means to me, as an accountant, is that you have 40%, you have acknowledged yourself that you haven't spent. But each time we go into a new year to budget, we start from zero. Maybe our idea of zero-based budget is about the revenue rather than the expenditure. If you didn't spend money before, shouldn't you carry it forward? We then create significant loopholes